Okay, everyone, welcome back. This is a quick broadcast. Today, the 17th of December, 2025. I hope everyone is doing well. It's getting close to Christmas, and a lot of people are rounding off their day-to-day and their yearly work. So I'm gonna begin today with a story that we all know about. Dangote. Dangote has removed the gloves, gloves off, and is about to start the fight, or I would say gloves on rather. And he's already started the fight, against the regulator with respect to his treatment by the regulatory authority. He doesn't really like what's going on, and he's made his concerns known. That did happen on Sunday, and even apart from that, he's been coming out to say, there's a deliberate effort to destroy or to not make the refinery work based on his own stuff. So fast forward, yesterday he did a publication where he alleged that the current CEO of the midstream and the downstream sector regulatory authority has actually been going after his business, but then he has his own children attend expensive schools. So let's just start with this. This was an exchange on Arise TV earlier today with respect to Rufai Oseni and one of their major contributors. Let's see. Let me see this. Okay.
This argument, but all I want to see is the bank transaction indicating the payment of Mr. FAROUK to these schools. Do you by any chance have it in Switzerland? And the date of payment?
I'm not the one who, Rufai, I'm not the one who made the accusation.
No. But
Alhaji said to his lawyer, to ICPC, that if the
Kevin, you're here to speak for the Dangote Group. You speak in defense of the Dangote Group. So if somebody made an accusation, we want empirical evidence. All I'm just asking is, do you have the bank transaction of to the schools listed, La Rose and a couple of other schools in favor of the FAROUK kids and the dates these transactions were made?
Rufai, when the matter gets to court and the court requests for evidence, the parties will produce evidence in discovery to the court.
Can you confirm to me if the parties have that evidence?
Okay, so again, this is just, part of the commentary that has surrounded the whole allegation and accusation that was made by Dangote. I don't think the line of questioning by Rufai does make sense, because this guy is a commentator and he is taking the sides of Dangote, okay? And that's his own opinion. That's his opinion. He's saying that, okay, fine, we need to get to the root of this. Rufai is calling for evidences with respect to his own side of view. But I'm not sure that Rufai has also given the other party the benefit of the doubt when he also make accusation. I mean, when Rufai comes to say, I put it to you, he only also, kind of put stuffs down based on what he has seen or gathered. And at most times, he also doesn't have the full evidence.
Evidence?
Alhaji has said through his lawyer to ICPC that if they need him to produce evidence, he will bring evidence. So let us wait for him to bring evidence to ICPC.
But you do not have the evidence.
Of course, he's not going to have the evidence, right? He's not going to have the evidence. So what do you expect him to do?
To speak. So if you do not have the evidence...
Rufai, as I said, I'm not the one...
Kevin.
I'm not the petitioner. I'm not the petitioner.
Kevin. You are not the petitioner, but you are here to speak in favor of the petitioner. That's why you're here. You are speaking for the Dangote Group, pure and simple, Kevin. But you do not have that
because
evidence.
His interest is the interest of Nigerians.
Okay, so I'm going to play the full exchange here, and then I will comment.
Africa's richest man, Aliko Dangote, has formally submitted a petition to the Anti-Corruption Agency, the Independent Corrupt Practices Commission, ICPC, accusing the chief executive of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, FAROUK, AHMED, of corruption and financial impropriety. The petition alleges that Ahmed spent more than $7 million on the education of his 4 children in Switzerland, an amount Dangote claims is grossly inconsistent with the legitimate earnings of a public servant.
Okay, again, just to put things in perspective, there's been also a publication circling around saying that, okay, these monies that was allegedly, used to fund the kids' children's education in one of the most luxurious, or I would say highbrow countries of this world, that a lot of those funds are not directly from him, they're directly from the father of FAROUK Ahmed. Now, there's been another update to that, and the update is that FAROUK Ahmed is saying that, that publication saying that I wasn't the one who funded my kids' education is not me. Okay, I didn't send that publication. So again, that's where things stand. As of now, there's also an update to an interview that he gave. So I'll just...
Dangote further alleges that the funds were diverted from public resources, accusing the NMDPRA boss of using his office as a vehicle for embezzlement and corrupt enrichment. For more on this, petroleum economist Kelvin Emmanuel joins us from our Abuja studio. But before we begin this conversation, we did reach out to the CEO of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, Engineer FAROUK Ahmed. Repeated calls to his line were unanswered, and messages sent were not replied.
Okay.
Also, Arise News.
So again, we don't want to get too far so long. There's another update again, and I'm still going to go back and listen to this. But
hello,
now
and
there's
thanks
an
for joining us
update
tonight
saying
on
that
TVC News at
saying that he has resigned. So Dangote finally got this guy to resign. Wow. That's just the update, 58 minutes ago. Let's look at this.
We'll begin with this breaking news from the presidential villa, where President Bola Tinubu has asked the Senate to approve the nominations of 2 new chief executives for the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority and the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission. The request followed the resignation of FAROUK Ahmed of the NMDPRA and Gbenga Komolafe of the NUPRC.
Wow.
Both officials were appointed in 2021 by former President Muhammadu Buhari to lead the 2 regulatory agencies created by the Petroleum Industry Act.
Wow.
To fill these positions, President Tinubu has now written to the Senate requesting expedited confirmation of Orishameyiwa Iyesan as CEO of NUPRC.
Well, so that's now going from the north to, I guess that would be the south, right? Okay. Again, we'll see what happens, right? I'm just getting
Mohammed,
this.
As CEO of NMDPRA. The 2 nominees are seasoned professionals in the oil and gas industry.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, what's happening here?
How closely is it linked really to the public standoff between the NMDPRA on one hand and Aliko Dangote over the Dangote refinery?
Well, indeed, it's surprising to see this. I think this is the first time this is happening like this in the oil and gas industry. At least I've covered this sector for over 10 years.
Yeah, again, that's the news. And again, these regulators are very powerful. There's been accusation of fraud, accusation of corruption. There's been accusation of sabotage, all allegedly, okay? But then we all know that sector, the petroleum sector, has been besieged by so many events. Now, there's one side of me that also needs to understand that Dangote is a businessman, and Dangote also hates competition, okay? Now, that's one side. There's the other side that also says to me that we've not been able to get refinery right in Nigeria for a while, for a long while. The old refinery of the country, owned and run by NNPC, has been in comatose for God knows when. Even when it was resuscitated by Tinubu, we still had this issue that it wasn't even performing. So now we've got one that is working, and that has helped relieve pressure on dollars, on the dependence and the reliance of USD, by Nigeria. You can get your crude locally, refined locally. So the whole cost of transporting the crude and importing back the finished product, that has been eliminated. You can get more efficiency. But there's also the concern with respect to monopoly, because Dangote always likes to dominate. Okay. Now, that being said, I still believe that even though this guy has resigned, there should be an investigation. Okay. If this is true, that there's been and again, there is a high likelihood that there would be corruption in there. And the sabotage was seen. I mean, this guy Dangote has been fighting a lot of sabotage. I mean, it's mentioned at least 20 different instances, of sabotage against him. We'll see where this leads to, but right now, it seems like Dangote is winning. The boss of the regulatory NMDPRA, that's a very long pronunciation, has resigned. Welcome to the show. Thanks, Sky XXX. Dangote is a legend. Mess with him, he'll call you out. Yeah. Greetings, Canary. Welcome all. And please do subscribe if you've not subscribed to this channel. I really appreciate it.
Right. This is a very, very unique one, I must say. But the development started with issues surrounding the implementation of the Petroleum Industry Act, which, of course, is supposed to open up this sector, commercialize it and, make it more competitive. But, there's been that back and forth with regards to Dangote refinery and, of course, issuing of licenses and all of that back and forth. And the recent one was the major allegation from Alhaji Dangote sometime over the weekend to Mr. FAROUK. And,
Yeah, and if you listen to, because we did listen to that in this channel, right? Like this community, we went through the whole 1 hour, 14 minutes. It was a 1 hour, 14 minutes, and it touched on several topics. It touched on, the challenges the refinery has been facing, the sabotage, the need for him to crash the price. He did set the price at $699. He expects that the final pump price will be around $740. He did mention that if the current tankers that he has is not sufficient, he's going to bring in more tankers so that there will be even distribution. And he also allayed the fears that, when it comes to petroleum scarcity, he doesn't expect that there will be scarcity this December. So again, a lot of things, a lot of activity behind the scene. He fought Pengerson, and even that also he alleged that the whole effort of this union was just to sabotage him. And again,
that's already been taken up by the ICPC, and of course, everyone expects that we would hear whatever comes out from that end. But aside that, the PIA really indeed is a very large, voluminous document that everyone has been waiting for the implementation of it. And what we see...
Do you know, were those allegations ever properly asked, or does the resignation suggest that government is quietly resetting the system?
Exactly. The PIA is meant to reset the system. And there are some policies around the PIA, it's instituting the PIA that might not be beneficial to all parties. That is where the issue comes on. The marketers have an argument in one side. They're saying they don't want the market to be monopolized. They don't want it to be just one person doing the importation, doing the refining of petroleum products. They're trying to eliminate importation. But some would tell you that when you look at some other countries, they still import petroleum products, countries that have large refineries like what we have here. So it's an issue that I think needs to be brought to the table. Everyone needs to come out and follow the law. There is an argument in some quarters that is a selective implementation of the PIA, which won't help us go anywhere. We've removed subsidy, we've moved on, and I think Dangote Refinery, if at the moment the production level can satisfy what Nigerians want, well, let's see if that can happen. And let's now see what happens to the importers. The importers have also invested a lot of money over the years, so they shouldn't just be thrown away all, just outrightly.
Yeah, again, it's market, it's business. There's a structural change, there's a structural change, and it does happen in every business. But at the end of the day, right, who's going to benefit finally? Number one, more jobs coming in. Again, secondly, also, if you're in the business, if you're in the marketing business, if you're a marketer, okay, in Nigeria, hello, Dangote has been building this thing for God knows when. So you should have also projected that when this works, there will be a disruption in your own chain of supply. So you should have emphasized that. And again, it should be free market. I mean, one of the things that has happened is that subsidy has been removed. Okay. And the country has been made to suffer a lot of the consequences of, of the scam and the subsidy regime. So one way or the other, okay, you cannot have it all. That's just it. And Dangote himself also is trying to survive.
Way. So I think there needs to be checks and balances. We need to follow the law to the latter, so that there is no selective implementation and everyone at the end of the day, can smile and just have a good time. But the most important thing is that pricing should reflect the deregulated market.
I know you can go on and on.
Yeah, so again, that's it. Let the market find its level. I just wanted to react to this drama. Well, let's see. So this news is going to be kind of stale, though.
NMDPRA's spokesperson, George Ene Ita, he also did not respond. So, Kevin, Emmanuel, let's begin the conversation. Good morning, and thank you for joining us and responding to our invitation.
Okay.
Dr. Abati, thank you so much. It's a privilege to be here, and compliments to the season to you and also to Fire and Ayo.
Good morning.
Very quickly, in this matter between Dangote Refinery, Alhaji Aliko Dangote, and engineer FAROUK AHMED, CEO of the NMDPRA. Now, allegations have been made. He who alleges must prove.
Yeah, sure.
So, from the statement put out there, do you think that Alhaji Aliko Dangote has evidence on his side to pursue this matter?
Okay.
Secondly, the ICPC, which is responsible for this kind of allegation against corrupt public servants, has said it is going to carry out investigations. Are you very optimistic, given the power dynamics involved in this matter, especially between industry and regulator and other players within that scope, that this matter will ever see the light of the day? Because there will be a lot of backroom, back channel,
a lot
contestation.
Of deals, right? I mean, now the guy has resigned. So that again is another curveball in this whole thing. I mean, Dangote may just relent and say, okay, fine, the guy is gone. Let's bring somebody else. This doesn't mean Dangote is going to get what he wants. I also must add there are a lot of other individuals, high net worth individuals, VIPs, politicians that are involved in the petroleum sector. They would also want to also fight back. A lot of these guys, are also importers. Okay, Owando, which is directly linked to the presidency, is also, also importing, PMS.
At the level of power, what are your expectations, and do you think there is enough evidence?
Dr. Abati, I first of all want to say that considering nobody has asked Melek Yari how he managed $3 billion for turnaround maintenance for NNPC refineries over 6 years, that was wasted, by the way, and the NMDPRA confirmed in their notes has been shut down. $3 billion for turnaround maintenance. EFCC is not saying anything about that investigation or possible charges for prosecution. Okay. I'm not holding my breath for the anti-corruption agencies in Nigeria. But it's important to state a few facts. Aliko Dangote is one of the largest, if not the largest taxpayer in Nigeria. I think last year he paid up to $450 billion in taxes, right? So as a taxpayer, he has a right to say that, look, if a government official is allegedly, abusing his office, considering that, the authority chief executive doesn't earn up more than 50 million naira in salary and allowances in a year, and there's been indications that the children that are schooled abroad in the most elite private schools in Europe, in Switzerland has
I mean, a lot of allegations that was made there. The fees for these students were nothing less than 100K for one, and he has 4. And then one just actually recently graduated from Harvard. Now there's been back and forth like, okay, fine, you can go after the father. Okay, but why are you putting, because Dangote was so petty. Okay, Dangote was really petty. He actually listed the names of the children. And people were like, yeah, if the father is still in, then again, put the child to them there. I think he should have actually just put the allegation. He did this. Dangote listed the name, listed the school each of them went to, listed the school fees, did the analysis that, okay, if they pay this per term or per session, this is going to be the total for each year, and then he did multiply by 6 years, and then did all of his analysis. Say, okay, they will buy tickets when they fly. This is how much they will pay for ticket, for boarding, for all of those, and then said, now at the end of the day, the whole sum of this stolen amount, or this whole sum of the school fees, okay, not stolen yet, allegedly, is going to be $4.8 million. And that was really petty. That was really, really petty coming from Dangote.
Boarding schools in Switzerland are more expensive than any boarding schools anywhere in the world. It's more expensive than the UK, okay? Mm-hmm. If the allegations that the monies that were spent in, maintenance of the kids, flight tickets, school fees, allowances, does not measure with the nearly 50 million naira he earns as the ace of the NMDPRA in Nigeria, look, sections 19 of the ICPC Act empowers them to investigate and possibly bring out charges. And moreover, Code of Conduct Bureau, they have a form called Form 001 on asset declaration for public servants, or not for under public service rules. And that form all public servants are required to update that form on a yearly basis. Okay? So it's now for the CCB to empower the CCT that they manage, Code of Conduct Tribunal, to review his file, they check his asset declaration from when he joined government, and check his updates on a yearly basis, and then investigate with the school abroad and find out if the rumors that they.
I mean, there's probable cause. Okay, there's probable cause. I mean, long story short, I'm just going to fast forward this. There's probable cause. Let me see.
Because these monies we're talking about is not anybody's family's money. Nobody in government owns the monies that they are custodians of. They don't own the money. The money belongs to Nigerians.
Yeah, but it's alleged, okay? I mean, it's alleged. Now, for all it's worth, this guy could have been a savvy investor. He could have also, been someone that knows how to invest his monies, okay? There could have been other means, I'm just saying. But again, we all know how these things work, right? So let's see. Now,
the devil is in the details. You know that the respondent has a right of self-defense. Yeah.
And is also innocent until proven guilty. Let's just note that. He's also innocent until proven guilty.
Has issued a short statement saying he's ready. Let them investigate. So, yeah, you are right, the burden of proof is on the person who alleges. But what if he comes up tomorrow and he says, you cannot trace that this money for the payment of my school's school fees came from NMDPRA? Because you have to show evidence in that regard. What if he comes and he says, oh, my wife is a businesswoman. It's money that we have been using to send these children to school. What if he says, oh, I have family inheritance. I may be a public servant. So this money came from family inheritance. In fact, you may even discover that the money was never paid directly by him. But what we can establish is that this is a conflict between industry and the regulator.
If the money was not paid by him, who else paid the money? Could that also be more like a quid pro quo? Could that be more like a back, you rob my back, I did it, and don't pay me the cash, but pay for my kids' school fees? Because if the money is being paid by someone outside his family, his father, okay, then what is it? Even if it's paid by his father, even if it's paid by his brother, okay, that's also a probable cause. Because we've seen instances where corrupt politicians who want to evade the law and get settlement into their families, into their next of kin's account to be able to do transactions. So the fact that the money was provided by the wife or provided by the brother or even provided by the father doesn't mean that it's not culpable. I'm just saying, allegedly though.
Which is a major problem in Nigeria. There are substantial issues. Can you talk about those substantial issues? About importation of fuel, about quality of fuel, about regulatory compliance, about the powers of the regulator.
Okay, so Dr. Batif, I'll answer the first question you asked. Whoever in his family, either his father or his sister or his wife, that claims that they must have sponsored the children in Switzerland to that tune, that clearly doesn't match up with his income as a public servant in Nigeria, they have to show the Nigerian government, the Federal Inland Revenue Service, their tax returns. Show us your tax returns.
Yeah,
what business did you do? What industry do you own? The family inheritance that, for example, the rumors indicate that, might have been the source of the funds. What business did the progenitor do to make the money, and where are the tax returns of that business to make the money? So that it's not unexplained wealth that we cannot say where the money didn't fall from the sky. If anybody says that, I have XYZ, I have this financial capacity, the first indication to verify that they have that financial capacity normally in a functional society is their tax returns. You have to show your tax returns. Where are your tax returns to the government? Because if you're not paying tax, you're evading tax, that's a crime on its own. So if any member of his family claims that they sponsored the education of the children in Switzerland, let them show the Nigerian government, FIRS, their tax returns to verify the business they did to earn the money to pay $7 million for tuition.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let them show their tax returns. Where are their tax returns?
Yeah, exactly. Like if my sister or my brother or father or mother is doing that, then again, this is it. They're rich. They have like a net worth of $10 million and they decide to use $5 million to educate kids. That's fine. I mean, show it to us. Let's see.
All right, Kelvin, I understand, and in the interest in the interest of the public, as the statement signed by Alhaji Dangote himself, the advertorial, he mentioned that Nigerians deserve to know the sources of the sums of money paid, and I do agree with that. Okay. However, as Dr. Bati mentioned, there are background issues. It's not just because all of a sudden Alhaji Dangote wants to become, the watchdog of public office holders in Nigeria by exposing the fact that they are spending more than they earn. In the event that, investigations happen, he's found, culpable and taken out of that position, would that solve the challenge, the underlying issue around this regulatory industry impasse? Because what we're looking for is a long-term solution. Not just for one man, to be castigated and taken out. It is, how do we solve the challenges? Would Engineer FAROUK AHMED was
producing diesel that had 500 ppm sulfur, which was false, because the Dangote refinery has one of the most sophisticated lab for testing all the other metrics, distillation, sulfur, motor octane number, flash point, cloud point, and the rest of them. Okay? He, as the authority chief executive, since the refinery started operations last year, has not visited the refinery. But when NNPC claimed that Warri was working in December, he flew to Warri, held the bottle and said that it was working. When in fact, NNPC deceived Nigerians and the president. And those government-owned refineries are shut down. Now, what are the issues?
Exactly. I mean, you have the government, with a lot of inefficient people trying so hard to make a refinery work. And they deceived the whole country, saying the refinery is now, there. They even invited Obasanjo to come, which people were like, okay, fine, Obasanjo, you couldn't fix this. Now come and see what's happening. And then there's been a lot of scandal with the refinery was sold, it was bought back by the government and all of those. Now we have this one that is working. Dangote is not a perfect person. Okay, he also has his own sides that you may not really like. We have this that is working. I understand the argument that you don't want one man to be the one holding the source of energy in a country. But that being said, you also have to be fair, no matter what.
Within the last 30 days, right, FAROUK has granted import licenses to bring in products of about averagely of 50 million liters per day. Okay. 50 million liters per day. About 1.8 billion liters of product worth $1.6 billion has been brought into Nigeria within the last 30 days. Number one, does NMDPRA have a lab to test the products coming into Nigeria? Knowing fully well that sections 317.11 of PIA specifies the sulfur limits. The test results that are being banded as certificate of quality, if you subject it to a forensic audit, will this show that those test certificates are true and real and the quality of products brought into Nigeria meets up with regulatory standard, considering that the quality of product determines price? Because a 500 ppm sulfur product is not the same with a 50 ppm sulfur product. Dangote is following PIA. Last year, samples from petrol that was imported into Nigeria was taken randomly from 2 companies, 2 filling stations. I won't mention their names. And when the results came out, it was shown that products brought into Nigeria, one of them had sulfur level of over 1,700 ppm. Another one had sulfur level of over 2,500 ppm. Regulatory limits, according to ECOWAS standards that Nigeria abides by, is 50 ppm. So why will you hold Dangote to PIA and then completely refuse to hold the marketers to the standard?
And that's what's frustrating. Again, I don't mind, like this guy said, they gave 1.8 right billion liters of petroleum to be imported. I don't mind if you bring them in, as long as there's a level playing field. I believe Dangote should still have an edge. Okay, I believe he should still have an edge because it's getting the crude. He gets some crude locally, he buys some crude and then he refines. So he has a local and a home advantage compared to those marketers. But at the same time, you also want to ensure that there is stability. Okay, you also want to ensure there is stability. And I believe one of the reasons why Dangote is reducing the price is also a fight strategy. Okay, and if it's going to reduce the price and it's sustainable, okay, price of PMS is expected to go up or down depending on crude and other factors. If it's sustainable over the long run, then that's fine. But if Dangote is reducing the price so that it can fight off other competitors in a bid to increase it in the future, then that's where there's going to be a problem.
And that the quality of the product determines the price. Number 2, Russia has been sanctioned. Russia is under an oil price cap of $45 a barrel. Marketers, Nigerian traders, in collaboration with international traders, they go and buy mazout condensates in Primorsk and Novorossiysk. They go to Kazakhstan, buy crude, they refine to naphtha. Naphtha is the base compound for refining PMS. You cannot consume naphtha as petrol. Then they come to Lomé, they transship it through a shadow fleet, they blend it. As we speak, and I'm saying this, you can quote me anywhere, there's a 2 million metric ton floating storage and offloading vessel in Lomé, Togo, that can hold 2.6 billion liters of petrol and diesel at every single time. Okay. Why is Togo determining our energy security? And why is Nigeria, as a signatory to international law, violating international law by saying that it's going to violate the sanctions that have been placed on Russia when they are buying crude oil at a $20 discount to what Dangote is buying?
Kevin.
Okay, so this was so this exchange now between Rufai and Kevin is the one that actually went viral. Because Rufai is trying to put Kevin on a pedestal that he himself doesn't put himself on, rather. Okay.
Most of these arguments. But all I want to see is the bank transaction indicating the payment of Mr. FAROUK to these schools. Do you by any chance have it in Switzerland? And the date of payments?
I'm not the one who, Rufai, I'm not the one who made the accusation.
No. But
Alhaji has said through his lawyer to ICPC that if the courts...
Kevin, you're here to speak for the Dangote Group.
Oh, really?
You speak in defense of the Dangote Group.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody made an accusation, we want empirical evidence. All I'm just asking is, do you have the bank transaction of this to the schools listed, La Rose and a couple of other schools in favor of the FAROUK kids and the dates these transactions were made?
Of course he won't have it. Of course, I don't even understand the line of questioning. Okay, there's an allegation. This guy has 4 children going to this top-notch, secondary school. One just graduated from Harvard. Again, there is, an allegation. They're not saying it's true. It's an allegation saying that we look at his salary and then we're looking at this, they don't match up. There's a probable cause for an investigation. So I don't know why he wants to get a bank statement, which this guy won't have anyways.
Right. When the matter gets to court and the court requests for evidence, the parties will produce evidence in discovery to the court.
Can you confirm to me if the parties have that evidence?
They wouldn't know now.
Alhaji has said through his lawyer to ICPC that if they need him to produce evidence, he will bring evidence. So let us wait for him to bring evidence to ICPC.
But you do not have the evidence as we speak. So if you do not have the evidence...
But he has a common sense, bro. What's your questioning? He has a common sense. And this is normal. You don't need to go to school, You know, you don't need to study animal husbandry for you to know that it's just normal. This is what we call expectation. Okay, when you're saying that, oh, this guy and so interest, okay, from certain investment, and you know that this investment is you don't even know the amount, but you can deduce from the interest that this is what the principal is going to be. It's just as simple as that.
I'm not the one.
Kevin.
I'm not the petitioner. I'm not the petitioner.
Kevin, you are not the petitioner, but you are here to speak in favor of the petitioner. That's why you're here.
I'm not the petitioner. I'm the brother of the petitioner.
But you do not have that
because
evidence.
His interest is the interest of Nigerians.
No,
not necessarily even. No, I mean, Dangote may also want to be a monopoly. Not necessarily. But again, I think that there is a probable cause. Like, it's just common sense. And Rufai don't give other people that benefit of the doubt. Okay? Because most of the allegations also of Rufai, there's always no backed up evidence.
This is your own interest, Kevin. All right.
Hi, James.
But you are here to speak in favor of the Dangote group. So you do not have that evidence. As long as you don't have that evidence, you can't also espouse this talk about corruption. If you had the evidence, we'll have talked to facts. So I don't think there's any question to ask you. I'm done. Kevin.
Okay, Kelvin.
Okay.
What do you think of the ICPC saying, we're going to investigate this? Because you sound like the outcome of the investigation.
Your line of question is irrelevant to the issue of income and expenditure balance, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I didn't get that.
Predetermined. What if the ICPC comes and it says, we don't think FAROUK AHMED has a case to answer?
Oh, wow.
Then what next?
Dr. Abati, I'm not holding my breath, like I said. I cited the fact that despite the fact that $3 billion of Nigeria's hard-earned money that was borrowed from Afrexim, by the way, right?
No.
And
he's not answering the question.
In exchange.
No, he's not answering the question. Now, the guy in question has resigned anyways. He has resigned today, effectively, like 1 hour ago. We've seen that, okay?
That's not a related case. What we have before us is a Whistleblowers Act. And then the state agencies have the right to investigate. It's on the basis of investigation and its outcome that they will prosecute. Just deal with the matter at hand. Don't say another matter, this and that. No, that's not how to read issues legally.
Dr.
No,
Abati,
fair
is
point.
there political will in Nigeria to fight corruption? Is there political will to fight corruption? That's the question I want to ask. Is there political will in Nigeria to fight corruption?
Again, it's not even about political will or not. Again, this is a fight of Dangote and this other guy, okay? And there may be some benefit to the people that another corrupt person is down. The problem I have with Nigeria and the problem I have with this whole corruption thing is that except you step on the toes of somebody that's a little bit higher than you, that's when the law is being applied to you. Ngige was arrested. Why? Because he's not in line with the party that is in power. Because he went to see Peter Obi, or Peter Obi went to see him, whichever one, they shall saw themselves. Okay? And then the allegation just almost immediately will come up. And that's the pain. That's the problem I have with all these things. If Dangote has not called this guy out, number one, he wouldn't have resigned. Okay? Number two, I don't know if he's corrupt or not. We don't apply the law the way it should be. The law only applies to those that I think steps on people's toes or is not in sync with the powers that be. And that's my problem with the way we apply laws in Nigeria. Because Akpabio had an EFCC case, and all of a sudden he moved over to APC and is now the Senate president. Okay? And a lot of people like that. FAROUK Lawal went to jail. Of course, we saw the video. It was compromised. Okay? But the reason why I went to jail was because he stepped on Femi Otedola's toe. If you know about the subsidy scam and all of that. Why is it that the ICPC cannot do his own job until a Dangote had to call and petition certain person, allegedly? We don't know if the guy is corrupt or not. Okay? And I'll leave it at that. I don't want to make any assumption. But the truth is, in Nigeria, you only get to face the wrath of the law if you step on a powerful person's toe. And that's where I have a problem.
Corruption in Nigeria today. Is there political will to fight corruption?
Depending on which party you fall
the anti-corruption agencies in Nigeria truly independent? Is there political will to fight corruption? Because if there was political will to fight corruption, right, NNPC's former management and board should be answering questions at EFCC today for how they wasted $3 billion and those refineries are shut down.
Not only even $3 billion, right? There's been a lot of stuff. And again, look at what happened with CBN. Just the CBN governor having 700 houses. How come he's the only one in custody? Are you telling me he was the only one that was corrupt during Buhari's years? A lot of them are corrupt, but the problem is this. They are already entrenched into the system. And when you see insecurity, when you see banditry, when you see terrorism, you will know that these are the offspring of a corrupt system. Okay, you can't have successive years or decades of corruption in a country and all these vices won't be there. Year in, year out.
Is there political will to fight corruption? Why is EFCC not saying anything about $3 billion that was wasted of Nigeria's money? Why are they not saying anything about it? Okay. So is there political will to fight corruption in this country?
Okay.
Yeah, okay, guy, take it easy.
Thank you very much, Kevin Emmanuel, for joining us.
Okay, so that's that about that. The guy has resigned just today. The man that has been accused, allegedly. Now, we'll see what happens. For all I care, he's now out of the way. I believe that nothing will come out of that allegation anymore. Dangote will relent. But the battle is not over because whoever takes over, okay, from this guy, also will still face some pressure, even from Dangote. Okay? So this is just the key timeline. July 2024. Dispute began when AHMED claimed that Dangote refinery product, e.g. diesel, have high sulfur content. So that's the background. And are inferior to imports. Dangote refutes with independent test. Let me increase this to 200. So there was an independent test that was done during a legislative visit accusing NMDPRA. NMDPRA, I'm always botching that, of favoring importers. And that's a big problem. If you've come out to allege that they have very high sulfur content, and then the claim or the evidence refutes your initial allegation, then there's a problem. Now, 2025, ongoing tension over NMDPRA issuing import licenses for petrol products despite growing local production from Dangote and modular refineries. Dangote argues this undermines domestic refining and amounts to sabotage. There's no country in this world where you have a very strong potential, from a local production that you would then go on and just be issuing licenses anyhow. Now, there should be, and this is where I think the National Assembly is missing in action. It shouldn't have to get to this point. There should have been an inquiry, okay, either by the House of Rep or the National or the Senate, to have called parties together since 2024. Okay, what is this? What is this? Then just bring a bill or an amendment, okay, that actually focuses on the current situation and leads to a long-term stability. That was what I was expecting. But you know what? Nobody's going to talk until the whole thing gets, into a very uncharted territory. December 14 to 15, Dangote held a press conference. We all saw that. And then alleges that AHMED spent up to $7 million on children's education abroad. So again, Dangote went for the regulator himself and attacked him. Now you have to acknowledge this has been brewing since July 2024. December 16, Dangote formally petitions the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission against AHMED for corruption, abuse of office, and living beyond means. ICPC confirms receipt, we saw that, okay, and vowed to investigate. AHMED denies allegation, disowned circulating responses. So there was a circulation that came out, okay, and then AHMED said, oh, I didn't write that stuff. And he also said, oh, I didn't write this memo. This memo is not from me. That was when I knew that there's a problem. December 17, 2025, is this friends of AHMED writing and refuting Dangote's allegation? December 17, 2025, AHMED resigns as NMD PRA CEO. President Tinubu has now announced his resignation, okay, and nominate replacement. Civil society group demands swift anti-graft action. So we'll see what happens. So that's that about that. And it's not only Dangote and FAROUK that is having issues as we speak. A lot of allegations here and there. There's also allegation on a lighter mood with DORIS OGALA and Pastor Chris OKAFOR. We went through a lengthy review, of, let me see, OKAFOR. Okay, let me even see this. So the guy got married earlier today. DORIS OGALA demands 1 billion naira from Pastor Chris OKAFOR over broken marriage promises. Not only did the actress DORIS OGALA sent a 1 billion pre-action demand letter to the Pastor Chris OKAFOR on December 16, accusing him of promising marriage after their affairs began in 2017 during her marital struggles. She claimed he encouraged a divorce from Kingsley Anyanwu, received 45 million from her and caused a miscarriage, while now marrying another on the same day in Lekki. OKAFOR, founder of Grace National Liberty City, held a lavish wedding with his bride pal AHMED, the claims, staying publicly silent as OGALA accused further details. Blah, blah, blah. I mean, sorry about that.
Pregnant.
That wasn't good.
Has done wedding and look at his wife.
Okay.
Blah, blah, blah. Okay, you guys don't know anything. You guys don't know anything that is going on. That man raped that girl and got that girl pregnant.
Okay, that's an allegation. Okay. We don't know if that's true or not. I just want to put that out there.
The mother of that girl, now the choir coordinator.
Oh, wow.
They insisted that he had to marry the girl. Else, they would disgrace and expose him.
Wow.
You guys don't know what is going on. That girl is pregnant. That girl is pregnant.
Let me see. Can I see the picture? Oh, okay. I can't expand that.
The mother is the coordinator. Is a choir coordinator in that church.
Wow.
You guys don't know what is going on.
No, we don't know.
That's a rape matter.
How is that? How possible is that?
He ran to marry that girl because he does not want to be exposed. Because this one would choke him. Are you guys aware that he had someone he was supposed to marry on the 2024? I will post the chat. The girl sent me his naked video. The girl sent me his naked video. This man is a beast. They say, you want him to marry? Who will marry somebody who murdered her brother? I wanted revenge. God gave it to me at a platter of gold. God led me to expose this man. I confess the sins I committed with this man.
God is now using you to what? To get revenge? What are you even talking about? I think she needs help. Again, whatever has happened to her, I'm not a fan of either of the two of them, but I think she needs help.
You don't know what it took me to do this. You don't know who you're dealing with. God said, my daughter, it is time to confess the sins and atrocity you committed with these people. And my confession is the beginning of my...
Okay, so that's that. So the marriage was held, so this was it 14 hours ago. They already had the wedding. You can see both of them. I think Chris OKAFOR ties the knot. Okay, let's see. Okay, 1 billion lawsuit has been filed. We'll see what happens. Says she will sue again. She said she will sue, and then she already sued already. Either committed fornication or adultery sinned against his own body. Dr. Chris OKAFOR. Okay, let's.
Any man that conquers idolatry and immorality have solved 90% of his problem. That you don't bow down to money. No matter what happens, you say the truth, you do the right thing, you have conquered the enemy. The immorality, a man that can stay and keep himself from sexual sin. Because when we say sin, sometimes we say sin, oh, sin is sin. Sin is not sin. There are sins higher than others. Jesus said, every other sin, he said, some sins can be forgiven. He said, but you see the one that will betray the Son of Man, it's better that that one is not born. That means there are sin higher than sin. And in the same vein, he said, he that committed adultery or fornication sinneth against his own body. We are in a world full of different Babylonian systems, in a very corrupt and wicked world. But if you can stand on your own and stand pure, there is no way you cannot command things. One of your biggest prayers is that, Lord, keep me pure, never to be corrupt. A man that have
oh boy, it's not easy.
Conquered immorality has conquered 90% of his battle. No matter what the enemy do to you, you will win. Any man that conquers.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not gonna say anything. I just hope that he gets himself well. When I was still married to my ex-husband, I was already Pastor Chris' girlfriend. I never loved my ex-husband. In fact, anytime he touched me, I used to be very irritated. So I was always denying him sex. I can count the number of times I allowed him to have that. Okay, blah 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 blah. Yeah, that's it. Let me see. Yeah, it tied or not. And again, we'll see what happens. Updates. Doris OGALA set to sue Pastor Chris. We've seen that one he already sued already. And then we'll see what happens. I think it was Pastor Ashimolo that did tie the knot. I might be wrong. And I'm just gonna move on from that. Let me see. I do have some other things that I actually want to watch in here. Let me see that. Okay. So this is Sim, okay? Now there's another crisis that is brewing already with respect to River State. We all know that this guy eventually decamped to APC. Let's just hear him speak.
Very wonderful project. Let me throw a little light to this significant event. This project was initiated by my predecessor. And the reason for this project was because of the special support, the energy that he saw in the person of Right Honorable Edison Ehie. He called him and he said, what do you want me to do? Because I want us to make sure that we dominate Ahoda East, Ahoda West in the forthcoming election. And he said, at that time, this is the project I want you to do.
Okay, finally, this guy has gotten his voice back. He was fighting for his political life. Obasanjo. Tinubu came in to save him. And now, he's now in APC, trying to take the fight to the gate of the enemy, which is Wike. I'm going to see how that would work. I believe that the current Speaker of the House of Assembly was actually high in the governorship position come 2027. It's going to be a full-out battle, okay, in River State come 2027. Okay? Whichever way or whatever happens, I believe that Tinubu already has the major players in River State in his pocket. I mean, Wike, the anti-party guy, and then you also have this guy now that has decamped.
For the people, and to the glory of God, my predecessor initiated this project in November the 8th, 2022.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, because of this project, Edison Ehie gave his all in that election, and victory wasn't a questionable thing in Ahoda West, Ahoda East, as a matter of fact. So when we came on board, it is natural that we see to the conclusion of this project.
Again, the money is for the people. The governor is executing the project, which is good. I mean, they should do project, but when we have a rally, right? Someone says here, J94412, when Nigeria stops going to most of this political rally, maybe our politician will start doing the right thing. I agree with you. I agree with you. Again, it's just the level at which we are in Nigeria, right? Where like a lot of these governors, especially the former governors, don't do much. Now, in this case, I think Wike did a lot of projects in Port Harcourt. But I mean, there are other states where the former governor would do little to nothing. And then when the new governor comes in, does a little bit of road, then people will be like, oh, this guy has done something so fantastic. That's the reality.
To show our support, we extended the project from the initial design, added another 4-point-something kilometers that made it what we have today, the 14.2 kilometers. That is the little way we can say thank you for the support of your son. You have also demonstrated it today that every kilometer you're giving us a cow, 14 cows. I think with what I have today now, I should be the
whatever it is,
only governor.
I'm going to move on.
I have only one request. I have only one request. On my way in here, I couldn't access my seat because of the mammoth crowd.
Oh yeah, that's a rally, right?
This crowd, I am asking. Everything here and your group, translate this crowd to the support that we are going to give to Mr. President come 2027. We know that when this crowd comes out, it's a walkover here. You did it for me in 2023. Start preparing the grounds for 2027 for Mr. President. Today, I want to also say to the whole world, when we left during the emergency rule, our records are there. We left over 300 and something billion. When we came back, we met about 600 and something. Every penny that we're spending, the record is there. And evidence of it will be shown within now and the next 6 months. So there is no issue on what are we doing with our money, what are we doing with the money they made. At least nobody can take away my sincerity, my genuineness. I am not associated to anything that has to do with fraudulent acts. If there is one thing I can say and do that I'm even proud of is nobody can associate me with anything that has to do with any bad thing. So your money and the record of how your monies are being spent is intact.
Okay, that's his response.
We have very, 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 very strong projects that we are doing.
And that's one thing. I think he has an home advantage against Wike. Okay, he has an home advantage against Wike, and the way it is, he studied Wike. He studied Wike's move. I learned that he was a very grassroots person that worked for Wike. So he already knows Wike's weakness. Okay, and I think he has vowed to fight back. Again, I learned that this guy is even related to him somehow, right? We'll see what happens.
Maybe the reason why some persons believe that there is something that is happening that they are not aware. We don't believe in flagging of projects, except otherwise. We believe in commissioning them. We don't want to spend money just to flag up projects and also spend money to commission. So let's save you the money of flagging off and entertain you when we are ready to tell you that this is what we have done with your money. So go and sleep. Call me any day, anytime. The record is there. Right from the time I started working as a government, right from the time I started taking responsibility in accounts, my records are there. I'm not even talking about the immediate past administration. I'm even talking about the previous administration before this one. The records are there. Call me any day. So I'll show you this is what has happened. So if it comes to issues of record keeping, it is my profession. So you don't need to worry about what happens to your money. We are using your money for the interest of Rivers people. We are using it for the betterment of Rivers State.
Okay.
We are using it as one of the things you're seeing here today, delivering on the needs of our people.
Okay.
So let me thank you, assure you that we're not going to let any of you down. We know the sacrifice you have made for us, and for that reason alone, we're not going to take any of you for granted. Continue to believe in us. Listen to us when we tell you whatever we say, because we are saying it because we know that at the end of the day, our position definitely, but God willing, will be, I repeat, will be the true position of our dear state. Let me thank you again.
Okay, yeah, that's
Thank
it.
your dear son, Edison. Thank the traditional rulers for the support. Thank the host community for your warm reception and hospitality that you just displayed today. Let me, at this point, invite the Deputy Governor, our leaders, to join us.
Okay, so that's it. I mean, yeah, you can see that. The swift change from the PDP flag to the APC flag in Rivers, like, look at all of them carrying the APC flag right now in Rivers. Oh my God. Yeah, that's politics for you, and that's the reality of politics for you. What more can I say? You see that? All right, Solomon. Yeah, you see that? Okay. Yeah, so I'm gonna move on. Yeah, that's it. This is the reality of politics in Nigeria. And that's it. So that's him cutting the tapes. Let's see that one.
Go, no. Bend down, or you go away from there.
We hereby commission this roads, so the glory of God.
They're shameless, right?
And the good of humanity. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Hello. Okay, so is talking now. Executed by the administration of His Excellency Governor of Rivers State, commissioned by my humble self on this 7th day of December, year of our Lord.
I don't even think the mic is working.
To God be the glory.
Okay, so yeah, that's it. That's the reality on ground right now. So he's replied back to the House of Assembly Speaker, saying that the money is intact, that he didn't steal any money. We'll see what happens. People holding the flags are shameless. I mean, politics in Nigeria and all its worth, it is, that's that about that. Yeah. Okay. Thanks so much. I just did this quick broadcast. So again, the CEO of the oil marketers, what is it? NMDPRA, okay, has resigned following the allegation by Dangote that there seems to be some impropriety. I'm going to stop for now. And then when I come back, I'm going to actually go through more stories. For now, I think that's the latest, and that's what I have. Thanks so much. There's also the drama between Senator Erete Kingibe and Akpabio during the Senate hearing today. Thanks for joining. Please do help subscribe.